China has recently introduced an aircraft that has drawn serious attention inside the Pentagon. The J-20S is not just another addition to China's fighter fleet. It is the world's first twin-seat stealth fighter, and it is already being integrated into operational planning with capabilities that challenge long-standing assumptions about air dominance. For decades, American F-22 and F-35 fighters have defined air superiority. The J-20S, however, is designed to operate in a fundamentally different way. Unlike any current U.S. stealth fighter, it is built to direct multiple unmanned systems during combat, extending its reach well beyond the aircraft itself while remaining extremely difficult to track. What makes this development significant is not hype or speculation. Public imagery and disclosures from the aircraft's official appearance at China's Victory Day parade provided analysts with the first clear indication that the J-20S is intended for active service, not experimentation. The scale of its potential impact, combined with the timing of its debut, signals a deliberate shift in China's air combat strategy. The real concern is not limited to stealth coatings or engine performance. The second seat introduces an entirely new operational role. It allows one crew member to focus on flying and survivability, while the other manages drones, sensors, and electronic warfare tasks in real time. This division of labor is designed to increase effectiveness in complex, high-intensity combat environments. American air superiority has been maintained for generations through training, technology, and doctrine. Understanding how potential adversaries are evolving their aircraft is essential to preserving that advantage. The J-20S represents a move away from traditional dogfighting concepts toward coordinated, network-driven air combat. Before breaking down exactly how this aircraft challenges the F-22 and F-35, there is one detail that surprised many intelligence analysts. The J-20S was not developed overnight. Chinese engineers spent years refining this design, closely studying modern air combat trends and identifying operational gaps in existing fighter concepts. The result is one of the most direct challenges to U.S. air power seen since the end of the Cold War.
Section 1. Direct threat to the F-22 Raptor. To understand why the J-20S presents a specific challenge to the F-22 Raptor, it's important to look at how the Raptor was designed to fight. The F-22 excels in air-to-air combat by combining stealth, powerful sensors, and the ability to detect and engage targets before being seen. The J-20S changes that dynamic. While the F-22 is optimized for engaging individual threats at long range, the J-20S is designed to operate as the center of a multi-platform formation, coordinating several unmanned wingmen at the same time. In practical terms, an F-22 pilot may believe they are confronting a single opposing aircraft, when in reality they are entering an engagement involving multiple coordinated platforms. One piloted J-20S can direct several unmanned combat drones, each contributing sensors, decoys, or weapons to the fight. The F-22's traditional advantage, detecting the enemy first and striking before being targeted, becomes harder to maintain in this scenario. Unmanned wingmen can be used as forward scouts, drawing responses and forcing defending aircraft to expose their position. Once that happens, the manned J-20S can organize follow-on actions from different directions, increasing pressure on even highly capable fighters. An even more serious issue emerges when the focus shifts from capability to scale. The United States currently operates around 186 F-22 Raptors, and production of that aircraft ended more than a decade ago. China, by contrast, is manufacturing well over 100 J-20 variants per year, with the J-20S now part of that output. Even if American fighters retain an edge in individual performance, sustained operations are shaped by availability. Over time, numerical pressure alone can limit how and where a smaller fleet can be deployed. In a prolonged conflict, that imbalance would place increasing strain on the F-22 force. The J-20S also narrows another long-standing advantage. With the introduction of China's WS-15 engines, the aircraft is designed to achieve sustained supersonic flight without afterburners, a capability long associated with the F-22. While this does not erase the Raptor's strengths, it reduces one of its defining performance gaps. Where the J-20S gains additional leverage is range. Its longer reach provides greater flexibility in choosing engagement timing and location, allowing Chinese planners to operate farther from their home bases while forcing opposing aircraft to react. The implications for the F-35 fleet are potentially even more complex.
Section 2. Direct threat to the F-35 Lightning II. The F-35 Lightning II was built as a multi-role platform centered on sensor fusion and networked warfare. Its effectiveness depends on sharing information seamlessly across aircraft, ships, and ground systems. The J-20S is specifically structured to disrupt that model. One of the first challenges is range. The F-35's single-engine design limits its combat radius compared to twin-engine aircraft like the J-20S. In the vast distances of the Pacific, this difference becomes operationally significant. A J-20S operating from mainland China can reach Taiwan, conduct combat patrols, and return without refueling. The same profile pushes F-35s closer to their limits and increases reliance on aerial tankers, assets that are difficult to protect and highly prioritized in Chinese targeting doctrine. Electronic warfare adds another layer of risk. The second crew member aboard the J-20S is not limited to drone coordination. That position also allows focused management of jamming and electronic attack systems intended to interfere with the data links that enable F-35 formations to function as a unified network. When those links are degraded, F-35s are forced to operate more independently, reducing the advantage of shared sensor awareness. Speed further complicates the matchup. The F-35's top speed up around Mach 1.6 is lower than what the J-20S is designed to achieve with its newer engines. This difference affects control of the engagement. Faster aircraft can decide when to close distance, when to disengage, and when to reposition, limiting an opponent's options during combat. Payload capacity also plays a role. The J-20S can carry a significantly larger weapons load than the F-35, enabling the use of longer-range missiles and more diverse weapon combinations. In modern air combat, engagement outcomes are often decided before aircraft ever see each other, and range and speed strongly influence which side can fire first. Before looking further at how these factors affect overall force balance, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Most viewers watch without subscribing, and that support directly helps us continue this kind of detailed analysis. Section 3. The Production Numbers Threat. This is where the challenge shifts from tactical to strategic. Advanced American fighters are costly and complex to build, which limits production rates. China has taken a different approach, expanding output of the J-20 family to create pressure through scale. Current estimates place the cost of a J-20 at around $120 million per aircraft. An F-35A costs roughly $178 million, with carrier-based variants exceeding $200 million. The F-22 program was even more expensive by the time production ended. These differences allow China to field aircraft faster and in greater numbers, gradually altering the balance of available forces over time. By the time production ended, Each F-22 cost well over $350 million per aircraft, making any restart economically unrealistic. China, meanwhile, can field nearly 3 J-20s for every 2 F-35s produced by the United States. Current assessments indicate China is manufacturing more than 100 J-20 variants each year, while total U.S. F-35 production across all services averages around 48 aircraft annually. If current trends continue, projections suggest that by 2030, China could operate over 800 J-20 variants, compared to a U.S. inventory of 186 F-22s and roughly 450 F-35s. These figures matter because air superiority is not determined by single encounters, but by the ability to sustain operations over time. In a prolonged conflict, numbers shape the battlefield. However, quantity alone does not explain China's approach. Its production strategy is deliberately aligned with modern attrition realities. Rather than attempting to build a small number of exceptionally expensive aircraft, China is fielding a force large enough to absorb losses while maintaining operational pressure. Modern air combat is no longer centered on isolated dogfights. It unfolds over weeks or months, with aircraft constantly rotating through missions, maintenance, and replacements. Even when U.S. fighters achieve favorable exchange ratios, the side with deeper reserves gains a strategic advantage. China can accept higher losses per engagement if overall force levels remain sufficient. The J-20S intensifies this challenge by increasing the effective size of each formation. Through unmanned integration, a single piloted aircraft can extend its reach across multiple platforms. A J-20S directing 4 supporting drones represents a coordinated 5-element formation. When several such aircraft operate together, the resulting combat effect resembles that of much larger traditional fighter packages, coordinated by human crews rather than autonomous systems. Yet the most serious concern is not any single performance metric. It lies in how Chinese doctrine intends to employ these aircraft against systemic weaknesses rather than individual fighters.
Section 4. Targeting American Vulnerabilities. Chinese military planners have spent decades analyzing how the United States projects air power. That study identified critical dependencies, areas where American strength relies on complex support networks. The J-20S appears specifically designed to exploit those dependencies, affecting both F-22 and F-35 operations. U.S. air power depends heavily on forward air bases, aircraft carriers, and aerial refueling tankers. These assets allow fighters to operate across vast Pacific distances, but they also create predictable, high-value targets. The extended range of the J-20S enables it to threaten these support systems from distances that were previously considered relatively safe. Aerial refueling is a key example. Both the F-22 and F-35 require tanker support for long-range missions. These large, non-stealth aircraft cannot defend themselves and must be protected by escorting fighters. That requirement forces American aircraft into known positions, simplifying targeting for adversaries operating with long-range sensors and coordinated formations. Aircraft carriers face similar pressure. The reach of the J-20S allows it to contest carrier operations across much of the first island chain, while remaining based on the Chinese mainland. This forces carrier strike groups to operate farther from contested areas, reducing the effectiveness of carrier-based F-35C operations and complicating mission planning. Forward air bases across the Pacific are also vulnerable. Facilities in Japan, Guam, and potentially beyond could face coordinated attacks designed to disable runways and destroy aircraft before they can launch. The stealth characteristics of the J-20S, combined with its range, reduce warning time and compress defensive decision-making. Drone coordination multiplies these risks. Instead of defending against isolated aircraft, commanders must plan for layered, synchronized attacks involving multiple manned fighters directing numerous unmanned systems. This significantly increases the complexity of defense and stretches interceptor and missile inventories. Chinese doctrine refers to this approach as systems destruction warfare. Rather than engaging fighters head-on, it focuses on dismantling the interconnected systems, bases, tankers, carriers, and command networks that enable American air operations. The J-20S provides the stealth, reach, and coordination needed to support this strategy against both F-22 and F-35 forces.
Section 5. Implications for American security. The J-20S represents more than a threat to F-22 and F-35 fighters. It signals China's emergence as a peer competitor capable of challenging American military dominance across multiple domains. Its combination of stealth, range, drones, and electronic warfare makes it a serious strategic concern for U.S. planners, allies, and global operations. For decades, American air superiority has been the cornerstone of global power projection. Our ability to control the skies allowed ground forces to operate with minimal risk from enemy aircraft and enabled naval forces to project strength without fear of sustained aerial attacks. The arrival of the J-20S challenges this long-standing assumption, signaling a shift in the balance of air power. The implications stretch far beyond purely military considerations. Throughout the Pacific, U.S. allies have structured their security strategies around our guarantee of air dominance. If China can reliably contest that dominance, allied nations may reconsider their strategic positions, potentially leaning toward accommodation with Chinese interests rather than resisting them. Economic repercussions are equally significant. Global trade routes, energy supplies, and financial markets rely on the stability maintained by American military presence. A credible challenge to this presence from platforms like the J-20S could disrupt supply chains, increase costs, and limit economic opportunities for ordinary Americans. Yet U.S. advantages remain formidable and difficult to replicate. American pilots benefit from unmatched training, real-world combat experience, and integration with the world's most advanced technologies. These human and institutional strengths cannot be mass-produced or reverse-engineered. Allied partnerships further amplify U.S. capabilities, offering global reach, shared intelligence, and coordinated operational responses that no single nation can match. Technological innovation continues to favor American industry. The challenges posed by the J-20S are likely to accelerate advances in stealth technology, electronic warfare, unmanned systems, and artificial intelligence, maintaining qualitative advantages even as China increases its numbers. Competition drives improvement on both sides, but ultimately it benefits the nation with stronger institutions, superior alliances, and greater innovative capacity. American military superiority has never relied on individual weapons alone. It depends on the integration of technology, training, doctrine, and global partnerships, a combination that no competitor has successfully replicated. The J-20S is not just another fighter jet. It represents China's direct challenge to the F-22 and F-35 air superiority that has safeguarded America for decades. But history shows that challenges like this inspire innovation, adaptation, and determination. Our pilots, engineers, and military leaders have consistently evolved to counter emerging threats, maintaining the edge that protects U.S. interests worldwide. The men and women serving in the Air Force and Navy deserve full support as they navigate this new era of great power competition.
If you support America's efforts to stay ahead of threats like the J-20S, hit that like button. Subscribe for ongoing analysis of the challenges facing U.S. security in an increasingly complex world.